listening to the Shite Talk podcast show. Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite Talk podcast show. Mark and Ken.
What's up?
On episode 250 of the Shite Talk podcast show.
Yeah.
We are halfway to 500, Ken.
Halfway to 500.
As said off air, a third of the way to 500 listeners. We think. We can't really count. It could be. We could have 500 listeners. But maybe by our 1,000th episode, we will.
Yeah, you never know.
How many years will that take?
Um,
We've been doing it since, well, at least I've been doing it since 2017. We've got to 250. That's a half of 500. Maths is hard. Let's stop.
yeah, Mark, I don't know. It'll be
A good few years.
20
20 years.
from the start. Like, so if it's taken 5 years to get to 250. So yeah, it'll take 20 years from episode 1 to get to episode 1,000.
Whoa. 20 years of dedication. I know that will probably never happen, but you know. Yeah. But like on our 250 show, which is kind of special. No, we don't do special shows anymore after 204. We don't talk about it. We have a jam-packed show.
We do.
We have stuff to talk about. We have lots of stuff to talk about. I have a story from my life. We all like these stories. Generally they're about family, but this time it isn't. Thinking makes you tired, apparently. Ken has the research.
Yeah.
I kind of like our sciencey topics that we do sometimes.
Sometimes when they work.
They're abomination to science, but do you know what? Sometimes they make me feel smart.
That's all that matters.
Then we have our idiots of the week, which I know is created from idiots, if you listen to the show that much. I've also, I think, I'm always like, I think my girlfriend might secretly listen to my podcast, which she'll never let me know. She referenced idiots of the week. She called, they were idiots of the week. I was like, that's a very, very acute thing you said there. But maybe,
you should call her.
What? Call her out as a secret fan. Yeah. Maybe she's dropping hints, like, to stop talking shit about me on your podcast.
That could be it.
It could be an indirect way. It's like, I'm listening to you, bitch. Yeah, so our Idiots of the Week features a drunk woman. Not my girlfriend. A man named Dick. Vegans. And Jesus, the vegan one goes on a bit. And wanted man. A wanted man is also on our Idiots of the Week. We can call him an idiot because he's no longer wanted. We also have people who hate monkeys. I always wanted a pet monkey. I hate animals, but you know, I think I could grow to love a monkey.
I don't know. They're probably a bit too much effort.
Yeah, you'd have to definitely like heavily drug them, make them like tolerable. Once you'd heavily drug them, it'd be kind of cool, like a drunk monkey. Peter is going to love our show.
Yeah.
And then we're actually also off Idiots of the Week. He's not an Idiot of the Week. Well, maybe Ken thinks he is. But we're also going to be talking about Tommy Lee and his like possible venture into porn. He's kind of dabbed in it like through most of the 90s into the early 90s and generally shows his dick off any chance he gets. But he's going to maybe possibly dabble into it again.
Yeah, you could kind of say technically he's done it before.
Technically, he's a very experienced. But maybe he's going to sign exclusively to a porn company, we could say.
Yeah, that could be something that he's going to do.
I think this one could be a marriage made in heaven. Because like it's called sin porn.
Sin?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like I've definitely got the name wrong, but like, it's called Sin Party, and it's basically the idea of it. As long as it doesn't break the law, whatever your kink is, they show it on this site.
Okay.
So yeah, so they want Tommy Lee. They think Tommy Lee would be a great addition, to their site. So they're trying to lock down Tommy Lee. I wonder if they'll go after Pam.
I doubt it.
No, yeah, I think she's kind of doing all right for herself. She was like, a few years ago, she was in a TV series. Now, it wasn't really shown too much over here. I think RTE used to show it during the day. And actually, it was all right. It was, it was one of those stupid American TV shows. Like, they made a million of them. It was like in the same kind of vein as not How I Met Your Mother, Modern Family. It's a similar, or King of Queens, that kind of sitcom-y shite.
What was it?
Don't know. Don't even know the name of it. She was like a mother, I think, in it. She played like a kind of mother. And it was just basically about her being incredibly hot, and then her kids having to deal with being teenagers. It was most of the skits. Yeah. So we'll get on to the show.
Get on to the show.
I have a feeling that I might be in a bit of trouble here because I robbed the fan from my sister's room, where because it's amazingly hot in this weather.
It's a bit ridiculous
I can
already.
hear kind of murmurings going on behind me now. So I wonder if they're looking for the fan back, because they do use it for like cooling down a room to let a baby sleep.
Yeah.
They can't come in because I'm doing my podcast. They can wait an hour. Sleep in an hour. So yeah, we'll get on. We'll start with the story. A story from my life. I found out how I knew that I am now an old man, Ken, this week.
Well, you're over 30, aren't you?
Well, no, it's not that I'm over 30, Ken. And you're an old man. And know how I know this?
Why?
Because do you own a wallet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're old as fuck then. As far as people who are 18 is considered, I don't even need ID. If I just took out my wallet, yeah, you're over 18. You can come in. So like, let's imagine we're going to a dance, or we're going to a nightclub. We're having a night out of the town.
Hang on. You have to just acknowledge something there. You're definitely old if you're saying, we're going to a dance.
Yes.
Back when I used to go to the discotheque.
We're going to the disco bar. We're going to a disco bar, or the dance hall. And there's bouncers on the door, and we're waiting in queue, and we whip out our wallet, getting it ready for when the bouncer asks us for ID. The fact that we have a wallet, bouncer's going to go, you old fucks can get in, because you are definitely over 18. Not because of the bags on your eyes, as the guard told me before, is how you know you're over 18. He goes, yeah, you are definitely over 18. She goes, no, I know. It's like, your eyes give away. You have dark black bags over your eyes, and that means you're over 18. That's how she says that you're over 18. But apparently, 18-year-olds or 17-year-olds say the fact that you have a fucking wallet, you are ancient. So that's how I found out before. So I don't know, like, I can kind of see where the young people are coming from on this now. Because other than if you have a license, or the EU have an EU travel card, which means it's kind of like, you couldn't go to like the US or anywhere outside the EU with this card, but you can go to anywhere in the EU using this EU travel card. So like, you can stick that in your wallet. So if you didn't have like a license or that card, you don't really need a wallet. Like, you don't have to really carry change anywhere anymore around, or notes. Everything's tap. Like, the only reason I use money is to get my hair cut, and that's the last remaining thing. Tax dodging fucks.
Those tax dodging bastards.
Bastards. Yeah, but like, do you kind of agree with that? Like, you kind of see where the young people are coming from with this.
Not really.
Why?
Like-
Why is your wallet necessary to your life?
I'm not saying it's necessary to your life, but it's not just like kind of older people that have them.
Older, like, okay, this guy was 18, so we're not saying old people. I'm maybe over exaggerating when I go, you're old if you own a wallet, and there's like a 22-year-old going, I'm not old. Let's say you're just over 18. We're mid-20s, like you're in college or whatever. I can kind of understand you not having a wallet.
Like there's like young lads, like proper young lads that will come into the shop that have wallets.
Oh, really? Well, maybe this was just Gobshite's opinion, but he was saying to me like, oh yeah, this is well known. This is well known that everybody knows this, that only old people have wallets. Because I was kind of thinking they like, okay, I know they carry money and cards, but that's not the only thing they carry.
Like I'd nearly say it's more kind of maybe you're old if you're using your card.
If you have the card on your phone.
No, like if you actually have a physical card.
I always think, I still use my card.
Because like most people under the age of like 40 just use their phone.
See, I only use my card in 2 shops, and it's because I get my coffee stamp loyalty things in my wallet. So instead of tapping with my phone and then taking out my wallet, it's so much easier just to tap with my card and then take out the card to get it stamped. I do get like when like most of the time I'm only going in for a coffee, and then they're like, is this everything? And I was like, when I tell them I'm going to go in with a free coffee, I was like, yeah, and I don't have to pay for anything, do I? Bye. Check and mate. Who wins this one? Me. No longer liked in most shops I go into.
Mark is banned from everywhere.
Yeah, they've cancelled the loyalty program. Yeah, but like I was kind of surprised because like you don't just keep money in wallets. You keep other things as well, even if you don't use them. Even if that thing's completely gone out of date and shouldn't ever be opened, it's still there. In case you're stuck.
Yeah. Like,
I kind of felt like he should have said this to him. I was just like, hey, you're missing a bigger picture here.
like, who was it told you this?
Some kid.
Some kid.
Some 18-year-old fuck.
Some 18-year-old prick.
Yeah, he says he keeps any cards he needs on his phone. Like he has or in his pocket or a zip pocket. He says, I always just make sure I have a zip pocket. And then I can keep whatever I need to keep in that zip pocket. So I don't really need a wallet. I was like, you're kind of missing a point. I was like, well, but what other things? I didn't say this to him. I didn't say, hey, someone needs to tell you this.
Somebody needs to sit you down.
And say, look at this thing. You need it for this reason. And maybe other reasons, like ID.
And you need to cut yourself on.
You can hide drugs in them, too. Stuff it down here.
Drugs.
Yeah, exactly. He's young. He'll be doing drugs in no time. Probably already on drugs. Sometimes when he's in work, he seems like he's on drugs. He says
it's just like one of these things where it's like Mark's just turned into like an old bitter man. So he's like, all young people are on drugs.
All young people probably more than likely are on drugs. There's a safe bet that a young person that you meet has done drugs. It's a solid bet that they've tried drugs. Now, I'd hate to see what this kid's like on drugs. Because I don't think he's on drugs when he's in work, but he looks like he is. He acts like he is. He doesn't look. Acts like he is. Dumb. Yeah. So yeah, that's my life story. Brought to you by the Shite Talk Podcast Show.
Mark's life story corner.
Yeah, exactly. It's just what I learned today this week was, some person called me old for having a wallet. Well, he admired the wallet. He says, "Do you know, I might get a wallet." Like, he liked the idea of having a wallet. It wasn't like, wallets are old. He's like, yeah, I might get a wallet because it's like, then I won't even need ID. I was like, because he goes, oh, you left your wallet in the thing. I was wondering, like, oh, who has a wallet? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, well, no one I really know has a wallet because you don't really need them anymore. It's like, but I was thinking about getting them because, like, I like them and, like, you wouldn't even need ID. So you just take out your wallet and they're like, yeah, you're definitely over 18. And it's like, okay, well, thanks for that. Let me know my wallet's in the van anyway. But, like, okay, I've just learned that.
I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, I had a form of ID to a bouncer before that clearly showed I was well over the ages of 18, and he just ripped into me. Even more so. And it was a very small bar that every single person in that bar could see me getting. And then I was actually waiting on a person people to come to that bar. So I was just a really awkward thing where I was just basically standing behind a pillar, waiting for someone, which felt like for the longest time in the world. He was like, what age are you? And I was like, 25. And he's like, 25 what? And I was like, hardly months.
I'm 25 months old.
Yeah. So, like, he's like, because he goes, do you have ID? And he was like asked me, like, as if I, like, was going to say, no, I forgot it at home because I'm 25. And I go, yeah, here's my passport. And he was just looking at me, looks at me, he goes, starts going through it, like, see where I've been. And goes, Jesus, you're 18. I was like,
told you this.
Yeah, cheers. Everyone mortified. But in fairness, if I was a bouncer, I'd definitely do that. I'd be that person.
You'd be that guy.
I'd be that guy, yeah.
I used to ID everybody on Paddy's Day.
You saw? Oh, yeah. All right. Well, you could,
like, if I was working St. Patrick's Day when I was younger, I would ID everybody because I didn't want to be working Paddy's Day.
All right. And would that, like, they could come in with grey hair and be like, do you have any ID?
Yeah, like, it didn't really matter.
Oh my God. I'd love to do like that, really old people, just to see them go, no, I don't have ID.
Like, in Vegas, like, everybody needs ID.
Yeah, I was like, I was asked for ID years ago, and I was like, I have to go out to my car. They're like, oh no, it's grand. So, like, it's it's a whole thing. If I have to, I can get you ID, but, like, it's in my car. Like, there's a big queue forming.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, off you go.
I can wait. I'll just serve the next people behind you. And even worse, I knew someone in the queue. It's even more worse than that.
Yeah, I'd still be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, especially if you knew someone and you knew they knew someone. I'd be like, yeah, go get your ID. It's only in your car. Only a few minutes.
And then, like, the best thing ever then is to do when they come back, you go, this in you.
Or they just go, I can't accept this one. This is not a guard ID. And like, whatever idea is. Like, I remember I had a passport and they're like, no, you need a guard ID. I was like, this is my passport. And they're like, yeah, we only accept guard IDs or licenses. I was like, this is way more official and harder to, like, replicate than a fucking guard ID. Or a piece of paper that we call our license. Like, you're like, yeah, no, but, like, company policy. I was like, are you taking the piss here? But to be over that now with my deep fucking baggy eyes, black as my heart, and my fucking wallet. I like an old man that I am. I'll never have to be asked for ID again because I have big black baggy eyes and fucking a wallet.
I say you started.
Yeah, sorry. I'll never be asked for ID ever again. That's what obviously stopped me being asked for ID. It wasn't that I grew into my age or anything like that. It was
It's the
a
fact that you
bouncer seen that I had a wallet.
Yeah, and he said, "No, I'm not going to ID this guy."
Mr. Wallet, you go through. Yeah, so thinking makes you tired. I can't believe. Have you ever been tired from thinking?
Probably.
I can comfortably say I haven't.
Really?
I've never, just never. I very rarely think. So that's the trick, I think.
That's the trick to it, I'd say.
Just pace yourself with the old thinking. Only do it in short bursts.
Yeah.
And take a week off, recover, regenerate, and then go out again. If you like, gently into the old thinking department.
Gently. Yeah, so like there's a study done by Current Biology, and it was done by the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, and they basically studied. I don't know how long the study went on for, but they studied.
Oh, they're jaded by the end of it, so it must have went on for ages.
It must have went on for a while. Like they were thinking about things. Like apparently, thinking makes you more. Like if you spend a whole day thinking, just sitting on the couch, and you spend a whole day actually out doing exercise, you're going to be more tired from sitting on the couch thinking than you are from actually doing physical exercise.
Well, I wonder, like, let's take a person who sits on his hole thinking all day and gets them to run for the entire day, and they're not allowed to stop. They have to just keep running, and if they stop, they have to walk, but they can't just stand still. They have to keep moving. They have to keep going in some form of direction. And you take like a long distance marathon runner that's a little bit dim, right? A little bit slow, doesn't really think a lot, right? I'd say they both be equally fucked by the end of it. If you gave like the long distance runner, not like just sitting and just think, but like gave them a task that they weren't familiar with, that they had to solve, and they had to like really concentrate for the entire day, I'd say both of them are going to be equally fucked. Because like, I think you're like your brain's a muscle. So if you think a lot, then that muscle gets strong. So you're able to think for longer than someone who's thick, who doesn't barely use their brain. And same with like running. Like you can run long distances and get better at running long distances. You know what I mean? So I wonder if it's just how accumulated you are to either exercise or thinking. Problem solving.
Yeah, well, this is just what they did. Like they said that it's down to how much glutamate your body makes. So apparently, it makes more glutamate when you're using like brain power, and then too much glutamate will start to disrupt brain function. But a rest period will allow your brain to restore proper regulation of glutamate and get you back to normal, which is why you have to get a break when you're in work. And then they said at the end of the day, the study participants who were like, say doing an office job that were like just thinking for most of the day, were more likely than those who had performed like physical work to opt for short-term, easily won financial rewards of lesser value than large rewards that come after a long wait or more effort.
All right, explain that last bit again. So like people who I'm not going to read it again. So basically, if you were spending most of your workday thinking, yeah,
as opposed to actually doing physical work, you are more likely to opt for short-term, easily won financial reward of lesser value than somebody who does a lot of physical work and very little thinking is more prepared to actually wait longer or try to put in more effort to get a larger financial reward.
Oh, I don't know necessarily is that. I don't like. Just thinking of my own personal experience here, and working with people who would be physically active in terms of them playing the long game and get like financial rewards over people who would be in more, let's say, educational. I often thought people who were in more educational jobs or who had careers based on degrees and thing were a lot better at playing long games and had more of a foresight. Whereas people who did physical work were always like very short-minded in their thinking about stuff. Like you wouldn't ever see a person who'd have a physical job ever have a 4-year plan or whatever. When you're talking to them, just talking to lads who would have had maybe trades or whatever, they might be like, oh, I want to become a mechanic, and they haven't really thought about, okay, are you going to open your own business being a mechanic? Are you going to be a freelance mechanic? Are you just going to work in a garage and build yourself up? They haven't really thought. They're like, oh, I like cars, mechanic. Whereas I think like a person who's maybe went to college have said, I think I might like this, and they've generally scoped out like a job where by the end of their career they have to do less work but are on a higher salary, where they're more managing or more above sort of top kind of like further, just in general. But this might be just people I know and just maybe the morons that I've come in contact with. Well, what do you think about this thing?
I don't know. Like I don't really know. Like this is just what they're saying. Like I can't say that people are. I think being easily pleased is more to do with like your personality than your like work.
Yeah, but like being easy pleased, like once again, that's a very hard like thing to like short term, like getting short term pleasures, or maybe like I don't know necessarily. I know of any examples of that. Like I also know people who have very non-physical jobs, but have a very physical outside work. Like they get up at 5:00 in the morning to go do like a spin class, and then they do a weights class after that, and then they go do their day's work, where they're like meetings and doing officey things, and doing like real kind of complex thinking things like accounts and setting up strategies for businesses and stuff like that. And then so they're kind of like have burning both ends of that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, like I don't know, like at the end of it then it says like obviously it says more research in potentially in non-human animals will be needed to establish a causal link between exhaustion and metabolic changes in the brain.
One of the things I was saying this to you off air, obviously I do a physical job, it's 90% labour. So like that'll be what I'd imagine they're talking about when they talk about physical workload. And I remember when I was volunteering in the radio station, I was after doing a day there, I was so surprised by how tired I was, because I had to focus on so many new tasks. By the end of it, I was exhausted, and like doing like my normal physical job, I come so used to that. I could do that 12-hour a day, and like I might be a little bit tired, but a lot of times like I'll go from like a 10-hour day and then start doing 2 hours of training after that, and then like get home at 10:00, go back up for 6, and do it all over again. Like it would just be a normal routine. So that would be probably considered quite active. So yeah, so I definitely think like there are different levels of tired. They're different tired. Whereas like when you like are using your brain when you're trying to solve new problems, I kind of always felt that like you just needed a nap. You needed a sleep. It's like your body needed to switch off. Like it is like you're as a computer that's running a program too much and just needed to be like shut down and rested. Whereas if your physical job, your probably muscles ache in certain areas that are overworked, and like you're a bit stiff in other places, and you probably also kind of feel like you need a nap, but you're just like it's more physical that you see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, but then, like, as well, how can you guarantee that the people, like you said, like, how can you guarantee the people that are in the jobs where they're sitting down and they're thinking most of the day aren't also doing a lot of strenuous exercise?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is like that's the thing you notice when you go to a jiu-jitsu class or you go to a rugby class. You do rugby or gar and like this. You are suddenly around all these like people who have very different jobs and lifestyles that wouldn't ordinarily hang out or have anything to do with each other, but because they're at this team, suddenly they're all one. They're all this like they're all kind of connected through this one appreciation of a sport. But like they all some might have very physically demanding jobs, others might have more kind of like I said, jobs where you're kind of focusing on a task where you have to think like computers or maybe accountants or something like that, teaching. But like, yeah, like you're still doing the same physical activities.
Yeah, like, so I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of feel like most people have like. And then once again, what is intelligence? And like, you'd be surprised at what tasks people are using, even in the most physical, mundane jobs. They're actually are thinking a lot in very like obscure ways about things. Like they are problem solving in like kind of ways that like remember when I was using the example about a person kicking a ball. Like it just seems like a task they're only to run after and kicking the ball, but actually they're actually thinking about how hard they have to hit a ball to catch a player who's running downfield, and that takes a lot of actual knowledge about like how curvature of a ball, placement of your foot against a ball, and you have to apply a lot of knowledge about how to get a ball to land just where you want it. They do it like second nature because they've studied it very much.
It's I don't know. Maybe when they do like more studies with like rats or something, it'll.
I don't know. I don't know if they will. I think if they lost me when they said they're going to start studying rats to find out if rats think and pleasure reward things. I was like, man, I don't think they're going to find too much there. Rats like food.
Yeah.
We'll definitely move on to a part of our show that was created for people who don't use their brain. And that is our Idiots of the Week. It's created for idiots, by idiots. And it's where we talk about people doing really dumb things. What?
It is.
It is. And our first one is about a drunk woman who returned home on a night out. Now, she was in London. She lives in London, or in the London area anyway. And you can rent bikes. You can do this in Dublin as well. Most European cities have them now, where you buy a bike or rent a bike and you cycle it all day. And then whenever you bring it back, you pay a fee for having that bike that long. But it's something like ridiculously cheap. It's like, I think you can, having it for a year, someone said to me, this could be wrong, don't quote me on this, it's like €20 for the year or something like, or €120 for a year, and you can have the bike for as many times. You just basically have an account and then you take the bike and then go off cycle. I think it's 120 a year. So it's something ridiculously low that if you're using it every day, it'd make it worth your while.
Yeah. That's kind of like those bikes they have in town.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what she was using. That like she decided she was on a night out and she was like, you know what? I don't want to get a taxi. They're very expensive. I'll just rent a bike. But she's obviously had a few drinks. She was on a night out. And like, that's never a good idea. As a person has tried to cycle back to a place while drunk and had a race, it's never a good idea. And someone's going to fall and really hurt themselves. But she managed to make it back to her house, so she's not an idiot of the week for renting a bike and falling off on the street. She managed to cycle the whole way home without falling off, even though she had a few drink. It was only when she got to her house that she forgot how to stop the bike and get off safely, and just fell like off the bike. This meant with her still on the bike, and the bike just like drops to the ground. And we noticed because it was captured on her doorbell. She managed to cycle the whole way home to just make sure that she ended up on the Idiot's Week with video proof. Because you know, everything's videoed now. The doorbells. And her family were the ones to remind her, because they obviously got notifications saying, there's someone at your door. And then they showed that.
Imagine the shame of that.
The shame.
The shame.
Yeah, so like, I imagine these doorbells have caught so many things. You often see clips that, like, I don't know, maybe whoever Ring or whoever operates them buys them off the people who have them at their houses and then use them as kind of like montages for like clips that this thing has captured. Or maybe they're all like fake and they're just like they use the camera and everyone's actors. But anyway, they're always catching like dumb things.
They're all set up.
They're all set up. The whole world's fake.
Birds don't exist.
Yeah, so now we have like a story that's the same but different. So yours is about a person called Dick Turpin.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who used to stand in New York in his underwear, is it not? Is that not Dick Turpin?
No, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Dick Turpin was like a highwayman in the UK, like back in the fucking. Hang on, let's find out what year it was. Like fucking hundreds of years ago. Like he died in 1739 at the ripe old age of 33. But I'm assuming you've been to London before. I'm assuming you went to like the London dungeons.
No. I was in Manchester, and I went out in Manchester, but I was in London, and I was in the O2, and I was in the hostel, and we walked down and went to the shop, and I was planning on doing the whole thing, but I was screwed out. I was going to say something very offensive there. I was screwed out of it, and I will end up not seeing anything of London. I was so excited about going to London. Like me and the guy that I went with, we're going to go into that London Tower thing. Or not, we're not London. What's the spinny thing?
The London Eye.
We're going to do London Eye. We're going to pick out things that we want to go see. We only have a day. Then we're going to go to a Bellator match. And then we're going to go out in the piss. And we're going to dance around with bags. And then we're going to go to the airport, piss drunk, and go home, wake up. And it was going to be like this like mad rush thing to do. And then we'd end up doing none of it. I had to do physical labour. And it was shite.
So anyway,
Anyway, so yeah, so you just uncovered like a hidden like trauma again.
so the London dungeons have added uh you go into it like it's what it is. You go into it like it's like a reenactment, kind of half play, half guided tour thing of like the most gruesome things that have happened in London, like so like Jack the Ripper and all this kind of shit. So they've added Dick Turpin to it, and there's like a bunch of concerned parents because there's always a bunch of concerned parents talking shite.
Oh,
And
it's nice for the like concerned parents, concerned mothers, more like. I don't think there's too many dads there, but concerned parents. Let's be like a little bit kind of PC or whatever, like non-offensive to certain people. But yeah, mostly it's like feminists or like male activists or vegans, or there's always a subplot group that like really don't care, but like at least it's parents again. They used to be the only ones that ever complained, was like the parents councils or what would give out, or priests.
yeah, well, this one is a group of concerned parents, and they have decided that Dick Turpin is offensive, and that he needs to be renamed because the word dick is offensive, and he should be called Richard Turpin.
Oh, like, so they want Dick to change Richard, and like, to what point have they went to give out about this?
Like, there's like, they're like properly like fucking. I think they started a petition about it.
And how many names? But surely there's gonna be a dick out there. It was like, fuck you guys, my name's not offensive.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Like, but Dick Turpin wasn't known as Richard Turpin. He was known as Dick Turpin.
Yeah, his name, like, that was probably on his grave as Dick Turpin.
Yeah, and like the company that runs the dungeon is called Merlin Entertainment.
Yeah.
So they released a statement and they said they received a number of requests for the character to be renamed Richard due to a rude nature of his nickname. And then they said that, how do we find the exact bit? We had a few complaints about it, which is silly. His name is Dick Turpin. I don't know who the biggest morons are. The people who've complained or the people who might think of doing something in the back of complaints. It's photo finish, which is the most idiotic. It's the most ludicrous thing we've ever heard in our life. Just tell people to go get a life.
Yeah, which I think is a sensible way of dealing with it. I have a story that's very...
And then the very last thing he said, I didn't even see this earlier. The very last thing he said, obviously this is like to try and piss everybody off even more. He said, "Our Dick's back carriage ride is the grand finale of the dungeon tour."
And it's the one that most of the ladies really enjoy the most.
And then he said, "Dick is here to stay."
Dick is here to stay, which is, I think, it's a sensible thing to do. Like, you can't give in to the mob, because if you give in to the mob wins, and then like there's no end. What you have to give in to all their demands, because suddenly, like, because at the end of the day, this is all it is. You know, like, you wouldn't accept this if it was a screaming child. You know, like, if the child bullies, you don't give them what they want, or else you have a spoiled brat on your hands. You tell them, "No, you little cunt. Not getting that. Don't be a cunt.
That's a bold little cunt.
You stupid
little cunt."
little cunt. If you ever say that cunting word again, me and you are going to have a fucking word. But only word, because physical violence is against the law.
Is it? Oops.
I don't think you can beat up kids.
Oh, really?
Well, you can't. You just have to teach them not to talk. One thing you have to learn: snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah, I have a very similar story. Mine goes like this, and it's like, once again they're complaining to a council. They're like, vegans demand a famous pork pie roundabout should have its offensive name changed, Ken. Vegans demand that the famous pork pie roundabout in Leicester should have its offensive name changed. So
what is a pork pie roundabout?
It's a kind of a famous roundabout in Leicester, and it's named after a building that, when the building is seen from the sky, it looks like a pork pie. Let's just see it here. Just going. It's in East Midlands, which is actually named after a library, which resembles a traditional meat snack when it's viewed from above, but has triggered activists.
Of course it has.
So the people for the ethical treatment of animals, or PETA, I didn't know if that's what they're called. I was saying, well, clearly they're dumb, because their anagram is missing letters, because for and of is it's not accounted for, but Ken says, yes, that's generally how those things go. And I was like, what about ISIS? And he goes, that's actually the best example he could possibly use, because he gave me the full description of what ISIS actually is. We're not going to get into it because we're already kind of going on for time. But I learned something new, basically. So they are saying Peter Shrewsbury, the mayor of Leicester, claims that the renaming landmark to vegan pie roundabout would inspire public to make healthier food choices and prevent animal suffering, Ken. Like that's like saying that's like vegan alternative foods aren't healthy. They're not a like healthier choice. You could possibly say having a vegan breakfast, such as, I don't know, fruit, is a healthier option than having a fry, because there's a lot less calories. But like having a vegan fry is just as bad for you as than having a regular fry.
Yeah, I agree. Like, just it's the fry part that's the bad part.
Yeah, and the amount of calories are in both. It's ridiculous. So they want to basically they went into the fact that the town itself has a very high obesity rate, and it's like, I think it's underage, like childhood obesity is quite a problem there. And they're basically pinning it on this roundabout as the reason because of childhood obesity, because kids grow up thinking, hey, look at this fucking pork pie. I get to eat all the pork pies because this roundabout's called pork pie and that library's called pork pie. Let's eat pork pies. And they come fat. And it's all because of this. But their whole problems can be solved if that pork pie roundabout gets changed. Because if they do that, then that building has to be changed.
Like, what a load of bollocks.
Yeah. I mean, like, the cheeky people are going like, we demand it. And so, like, yeah, okay, we demand, so we have to give it to you, do we?
Yeah, that's the way it works, isn't it?
Yeah, I demand something and it's mine.
Yeah, that's what I always thought happened.
But yeah, it's basically, we grew. See what happened in America, right? There was a lot like only childs, and we all know people who grow up as an only child grow up to be a cunt. It's a fact.
My wife is an only child.
Oh right, Aileen isn't a cunt. She's lovely. Yeah, most most people who grow up to be a cunt because they grow up spoiled to get everything they want. The parents only have one kid; they get everything. Whereas when you have brothers and sisters, your parents have a favorite, and the favorite gets everything, and you get to look on, going, "Wait, they get that?
So go on, Mark. Who's your parents' favorite?
Oh, Emma is my parents. Easily Emma. She's the most successful out of a lot of us. She's the oldest. She basically raised us. She's a favorite. Rebecca's second because she had a baby first. So yeah, there goes Emma, Rebecca, and then the rest are like, who, whatever. Do we have? We're not going to name these 1 to 10. Yeah, all the rest after that, and they may lie, but it's true. And like, if you have multiple kids, you'll feel like a cunt for saying this, but you have favorites.
You can always tell like when which one is like a parent's favorite.
And yeah, all parents have favorites. Like they're no, I have to love them all equally.
Yeah, like it's. I'm gonna say it's a natural thing, but like it's an obvious thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, you have a favorite everything.
Like it's not your fault.
Yeah, I have a favorite side of the bed. This doesn't mean I hate the other side of the bed. I prefer one side of the bed. No one's allowed on that side of the bed. That's my side of the bed. Bed of my life.
You have like favorite pets and like favorite everything.
Yeah, everything has its favorite. Yeah, and moving on to like family trauma. We also have an idiot a week, and this lad was wanted for stealing a car and stealing a few things, and the police got warrant to search his house, and this happened in Manchester, by the way, and he had stolen a car before this. He'd stolen something else. I should really read it from the start, shouldn't I? So, a wanted man was caught by police after they spotted a huge teddy bear, seemingly breeding, which was what gave him away. Basically, tried to hide, I imagine, in his children's room, and the child had a giant teddy. He had torn a hole just in case this day ever happened. Where you have, like, I don't know, inflatable boats just in case you wake up and your housing space is flooded, and the only way to get to the shops is float. We all have these like plans, like just in case plans, like if there ever is a fire, you have planned your escape. This guy obviously is a man of crime, so like his planning came with what happens if the police raid my house, and he had bought a teddy. Guaranteed he bought this teddy. The sole purpose is I can hide in this fucking teddy, and if the cops ever come looking for me, I can just hide in this fucking thing. I'm a genius. And they finally came, and he's like, yes. Excited as well as nervous. Jumped into the teddy, but got caught because obviously he never checked to anybody. Hey, does this look believable?
He should have just stuck to the inflatable boat behind the bed.
Yeah, exactly. At least he'd have a getaway plan. He just has to find a river. Yeah, Joshua Dobson from the Greater Manchester area.
He has a bit of an idiot name.
Dobson.
Yeah, just like his whole name. Like separately, it's okay, but together it just sounds stupid.
Joshua Dobson. Yeah. He just kind of said dumb. He stole a car before fueling up and without paying. So basically, he stole a car, realized the car that he stole had no fuel in it, went to a petrol station, filled up the car, and then drove off. So obviously, the shop notified the police. Then that car has actually been stolen.
What way did he go? Oh, look, there he is.
There he is. He's going into his house with a stolen car.
What a dope. So he has formed for being like a dopey criminal.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he just basically said, oh, I need a car. Take this. Oh, fucking lousy bastard has no fuel in it.
It's a good way to stop people robbing your car.
What, constantly drive out on red?
Just like have absolutely no fuel in it.
Oh, fuck up your engine though as well.
That's going to be my new plan.
And when I'm at my mechanics explaining, I'll explain to them. It's because in case anyone robs my car, and they're like, "Do you know you can just get an immobilizer?
Yeah, which costs more?
This engine rebuild."
Yeah, which costs more, putting no fuel in your car or getting an immobilizer?
Yeah, that only might happen.
If ifs and buts are candy and nuts.
Yeah, see, he's one of these. He probably because he's only 18, Ken.
And of course he
So
is.
he didn't have a wallet. So he then I have absolutely no way to pay now because I'm 18 and I don't have a wallet. That's an old man thing, and so he had to drive off.
That's how he got caught, was it?
Yeah, I guess if you break the law once, you might as well keep breaking the law.
That's good logic.
It's good logic, isn't it?
Mark's future kids. If you break the law once, just keep breaking the law.
Yeah, you're already in trouble. You're already a lawbreaker, so there's no point stopping now.
So just keep going till you do something big.
Yeah. So we're crashing out of the show with we're nearly way over time. We've 5 minutes left, so we'll do. Most of the stories are short. I think in the space of 5 minutes we can cram both of these in.
All
So
right, go on.
the WHO this is an idiot of the week. So WHO have had to step in and tell people to stop attacking monkeys over the latest monkeypox outbreak. So the World Health Organization, or WHO, who also let's look at their name, they don't have the T in there, so they also dropped that. That is a common thing. I'm only realizing then, has been forced to tell people to not attack monkeys following reports of injuries and deaths in late last week of what police in Brazil are expecting over the monkeypox outbreak.
I was just going to say, like how often do you fucking encounter a monkey to attack a monkey?
Yeah, Brazil in certain parts. So at least 10 monkeys, including they name like chimpanzees and some other ones starting with M.
The fucking black and white elk. What's that called?
Marmos.
Something that starts with an M.
Yeah, were killed in Brazil. Intoxication was the chosen form of death.
Intoxication?
Yeah, they were poisoning the monkey. So, there's a division in Brazil called the environmental police or something like that. It's basically where they go around making sure people aren't cutting down trees and farmers are not killing the rainforest. And they've came across a load of dead monkeys that were being poisoned, and they think could be linked to people's fears over monkeys spreading monkeypox and then taking the law into their own hands and poisoning it, which has now led to the WHO to go, hey, stop attacking monkeys.
You bastards.
But remember when people were attacking Chinese people over COVID, and people were like, oh, this is just racist. No, look, they're attacking monkeys over monkeypox. They're not racist, they're just fucking tick morons, and people don't have to be necessarily discriminating. They just are incredibly dumb.
Aren't they kind of the same thing?
Well, I think they share similar qualities. Being dumb and racist are very linked in many ways. A lot of races are quite thick as well.
Yeah, I'd say most of them.
Pretty much all of them. Yeah, but I think you can be dumb without being a racist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can have one without the other.
They go hand in hand, though.
They do go hand in hand. But yeah, then you have people attacking monkeys because once again it has it in their name. Just thank God. Maybe it did happen with the Spanish flu. But imagine if we were around when the Spanish flu happened. Poor Spaniards that come over to learn English. Jesus, they get an awful time.
They got an awful lot of doing.
And they probably did get like a kind of a. I think they did get like blamed for it was already around the world. It had already spread, but they're the first people to recognize it as a global pandemic, and they're like, "Oh, Spanish flu."
Yeah, fucking Spaniards.
You dirty bastards. Like, well, we just put name to. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Why do we always do this?
This better not stick. Yeah, so yeah, that's what happened in Brazil. It's probably the first time in Brazil was an idiot of the week. So well done, Brazil.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, he survived this long with being on idiots of the week. America's on most weeks. England, we had 2 of England, just right there. So yeah, the last one is like Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee is being like sought after by a porn company. Called Sin Party, where they basically do fetishes and taboos. So like incest, I think this is most porn sites do the same things really. Like they all do bad taboos or things. But anyway, whatever kind of kinky fetishes you're into, you'll find on this site apparently. As long as it's inside the law, they put in vertical commas. Or not vertical commas, brackets. But the extra site that has over 1,500 rated content creators, this is what they want to become, have like stepped up efforts to get him to join their team after he posted on Instagram a picture of him naked, showing his penis. And then,
of course he did.
Then obviously Instagram, who have a zero tolerance for that shit, deleted the pic hours later, but then by then all of his fans had already seen it.
I think we should give an honourable mention to Machine Gun Kelly, who played Tommy Lee in the Dirt movie.
Oh really? Did he do a bad job of this?
No, just because he's Machine Gun Kelly.
All right. Yeah, so like first of all they were like we think you have the right face to join our team, and they just tweeted this at him saying, we've seen your pic and we think you have the right face for our team. How about coming in? And then they kept posting like lyrics of Motley Crue posts on their Twitter and like trying to entice them, like trying to build up like a fandom of get like Tommy Lee's fans be like, yeah, we really want to see you on this, yeah. I don't know if it was successful. He hasn't really got back to them. But he's like, hey Tommy, was that a pic of your new tattoo, or were you just happy to see us? And then they had one about girls, and rattlesnakes, and they kept kind of using lyrics from Motley Crue songs, basically. And they like, yeah, come on, join our team, yeah, ooh, kind of be a little bit annoying, but yeah, he hasn't necessarily agreed or not agreed to go. I couldn't imagine him going to this porn site place that no one has ever heard of and signing an exclusive deal, but it wouldn't be the first time.
Right. Yeah, I don't see him doing it.
No. Like, if you really wanted it, he would just set up OnlyFans.
Yeah, or like I'm pretty sure he was offered something like this before, and he was just like, "Fuck off."
Yeah, like he's probably made his money, especially with the whole Tommy and Year One, Pam and Tommy.
Yeah, the whole being Tommy Lee in general thing.
Oh yeah, and the royalties of being part of Motley Crue is probably also.
They probably made a fair bit of money off that.
Yeah. So like, he's probably good. He's probably not short of a bit of cash.
Yeah.
In fact, that he also sues quite a lot as well. Kind of known for the suing, and then he can just write an autobiography. You shouldn't be allowed to have more than one autobiography.
I've had this conversation with somebody before, like people who do like X Factor or something, and they're like 18 when they're on X Factor, and they're fucking autobiographies out under 21. Like, what the fuck have you done in fucking 21 years, you spastic?
Yeah, like there was a case of that. I don't know who it was that that had they basically fuck all, and then they had an autobiography out. I remember they're being interviewed on the radio, and they're like, the people on the radio, obviously it was a paid interview, and they're like, it's actually a really good read, and it was like, it was so interesting, and you're like, what the fuck have you done with your life to, like, weren't you having, like, because this wasn't enough for you to weren't having a fucking autobiography.
Yeah, like, I know, Mick Foley, the wrestler, he's got like 4 autobiographies.
4 is a bit much.
But it kind of made sense that he had 4, because it was like, the first one was up to his first retirement, and then they offered him a lot of money and he came back, so he did like a second. Like, his first one was when he was like in his 30s.
Yeah, like, you know when footballers or sports stars retire from sport?
Yeah.
So I kind of like I kind of get when like fighters or sports stars write autobiography after a playing career, and they're like, this is me just reflecting over my career. And then if they go into management, and then maybe when they're approaching retirement age from management, they write a book about being a manager, because that's a different chapter in their life, and you probably have a lot of interesting stories about that. Or if they go into coaching, so like, let's say John Kavanagh, for instance. So if John Kavanagh wrote a book about the build up to before Conor McGregor signs for the UFC and starting a gym and that struggle, and then later on writes a second book about being a coach and running a business and training professional athletes, and shows, okay, once you make it, here was my life after I made it, and like, that'd make all the sense in the world to me. But like, especially when they're reality stars, and they that literally, I had this fight with my ex-husband, and this happened, and this happened.
Yeah. So I did X Factor, and then I did I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out Here, and then I did Dance with the Stars, and then I did, like, yeah, you did fucking nothing. Fuck off.
I always think it's a way more interesting story is like people who don't make it. You know, like the person who came third on
like
Netflix.
Anvil. Did you ever see that movie?
What's this?
Anvil. Did you ever see that?
No.
The story of Anvil. You should watch that. I think it's on Netflix. It's like about a Canadian heavy metal band, and they were like pretty big in the 80s. Like, they headlined Monsters of Rock in the UK. Like, Bon Jovi, Metallica, and Iron Maiden played before them. And then just a whole lot of bad career decisions, and their career went in the toilet. And the singer like actually delivers for fucking Meals on Wheels.
That's insane. Yeah, like, I always think that's more interesting. There's so much more character about that than, I'm like this. I've done like a bunch of reality TV shows. Have my own book deal, but it's just like a series of autobiographies about nonsense.
Yeah, like I don't know. Fuck them.
Yeah.
I won't be.
Let them off. That's what I say. Let them write their stupid books.
Who reads books anyway?
Yeah, books are for dumb people. Anyway, we'll leave it there for our 250th show, our big 205. 250.
250.
250, whatever. It's a long show. It's late at night. Yeah, we're gonna leave there for next week. We'll be back, I'm sure. Got nothing better to do.
Yeah. Well.
Well, we'll see about that. Ken has a child to raise and give out
Yeah.
to.
We'll see what happens.
Make sure it doesn't turn into a spoiled brat.
Yeah.
You have to have loads of kids now, Ken, because you kind of agreed with me about the only child thing.
No, I didn't really agree.
You said you didn't disagree though. Silence is violence.
Silence is violence. Oh, okay. You're one of those people.
All right, so let you go and let Ken go. Talk to you next week.
Good luck.
No.